Okay, once again, should I say, good day to all of you. So I am recording this video lesson for you to be able to understand what our lesson or topic for the week. Okay, for today we're going to talk about the lesson planning, and hopefully you will understand well our concept about lesson planning for values education, or in tackling or in teaching good manners and right conduct in the elementary grades. Previously we already done talking about with the different learning objectives of curriculum of lesson planning, and of course the learning objectives based on the curriculum guide of ESP in the elementary grades, the performance standards, the content standards, and the learning competencies. And those learning objectives is based on the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain of um, of the of of learning. Okay, so for today we're going to have lesson planning. Now let's have what is a lesson planning. So do we really need a lesson plan? So the question is yes, we really need a lesson plan for us to be able to, of course, to have our a smooth flow of lesson, and at the same time to avoid rattling. And of course, planning at night, planning your lessons at night to will help you to make your lesson productive, and make your students or your pupils to become more attentive as well during the class discussion. Now, what is lesson plan? So, lesson plan is a written guide used to aid teachers in their lessons. So the key word there is guide. So it is the blueprint. It is a plan that is used to make learning to make a learning in a to make the process of learning comfortable. And in lesson planning, it is the way also of planning instruction in which teachers visualizes the lesson before it is taught. When we say visualizes, it is more on foreseeing what will happen in the lesson for today. That was based on DepEd Order number 42 series of 2016. Now, according to Scrivener in 2005, planning a lesson entails prediction, anticipation, and at the same time sequencing and simplifying. What does it mean? So you're going to predict, you are going to anticipate what is the lesson that will going to happen, what will happen into your lesson. Now, there are different purposes of a lesson plan. First is like what I said a while back, it is used for the teacher. It is a guide for the teacher. And of course, it provides direction. It gives teacher a sense of security and confidence. And it provides record. When we say it provides record, during evaluation, you can provide your lesson plan as an MOVs, or means of verification that you teach a certain content or a certain subject. And of course, it helps you good classroom management. A good classroom management plus well-designed lesson is higher achieving, is equals to meet a higher achieving students. You need to have a good classroom management and a well-designed lesson. So what does it mean when we say helps good classroom management? So a good classroom management, meaning you can handle through lesson planning, you can foresee and you can handle what is the different what are the expected behavior of your students. So you plan immediately what are the different interventions that you may impose in your class in lesson planning. What are the purpose of the lesson plan for the learners? Of course, they will realize that the teachers, you teachers, care for them. How do they know? How they will know this? By simply observing you, they will understand you. Si teacher is alam niyang tinuturo niya, gusto niya talaga tayong matuto. Second, they will attend a structures lesson easier to assimilate. So for them to be able to understand well the lesson, you need a lesson plan. And of course, they will appreciate your effort in building them, in helping them to meet the expectations in the lesson. And for a good lesson, a good sorry, based on four things. A good lesson plan is based on four things. First is the interest. It is based to the interest and abilities of the students. You cannot give a lesson activities that is not based on the kakayahan of your learners. And of course, your own interests and strengths. What do I need? How may I implement this lesson? How will I teach this one? So you need to find your strengths and your interests and your beliefs in teaching and learning. What is your philosophy in life? What is your philosophy as a teacher? Number four, your own openness to change your plan. You are open to change and revise your lesson plan every now and then. And we have this what we call SMART rule, or the SMART rule for lesson objectives or learning objectives. Objectives should also follow the SMART rule or the SMART rule. Your objective must be specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, or relevant. And of course, it is time-bound. What does it mean if we say specific? When we say specific, it is based on a certain content. It should your lesson or your content should be specified. You need a specific lesson for you to build your own objective. And of course, measurable. How will I measure? How will assess my student? Third, attainable. This objective can attain a grade 1 learners? And of course, result oriented or relevant. Is it very important? Is this lesson important? And of course, time bound. Is this lesson or this objective, kakayanin ko bang tapusin and ma-meet itong objective na ito within 30 minutes? That's the question. Okay, now, of course, we have the what do you call this one? The transition, use time, variety, easy to follow. That is what we call the key elements of a lesson plan. So what does it mean if the key elements of lesson plan? So the key elements of your lesson plan, it has a transition time. It has enough time. Of course, when we say variety, you need to have various activities that your students or your pupils should undergo. And of course, easy to follow, and of course, it should be precise. If, for example, your lesson is all about pagkilala sa talento ng mag-aaral, then use different varieties of activities para makilala nila ang kanilang talento at kakayahan. Now, here are the parts of the detailed lesson plan. First is the objectives, and your objectives is always based on the curriculum guide. And now your objectives is naka-base sa content standards, performance standards, or learning competencies of the content. Now, second is the content or your subject matter. Third is your learning resources. Fourth is the procedures, and the procedures that includes the before the lesson, during the lesson, and after the lesson. Number 5 is assignment. It should be optional. You have the option to give an assignment or not. And of course, remarks and the reflection parts. Now, first is the objectives. So now your objectives includes the content standard or yung pamantayang pangnilalaman, pamantayan sa pagganap o performance standards, and pamantayan sa pagkatuto or the learning competencies. Now, our content here is pagpapahalaga sa sarili or self-esteem. Now, your objectives there or your layunin, your learning objectives is first is yung content standard. Ano yung content standard dyan? Na ipapamalas ang pag-unawa sa kahalagahan ng sariling kakayahan, pagkakaroon ng tiwala, pangangalaga at pag-iingat sa sarili, and many more. Yon ang letter A mo. Ang letter B mo, na ipapakita ang natatanging kakayahan sa iba't ibang pamamaraan ng may tiwala. And ang pamantayan sa pagkatuto, which is the letter C, the learning competency is nakatutukoy ng natatanging kakayahan, halimbawa ay ang talentong ibinigay ng Diyos. And of course, never forget your code. And of course, the content, your content is the subject